This week on Tech Trends. First, we show you the projects of some secondary school students at the STEMite Zone Fair in Lagos. And then, Jake Okechukwu, a technology law professor, will be joining me later on the program to discuss the alleged compromise of the data of Nigerians and the effectiveness of current security measures. Glad to have you join us on this week's episode of the program. Remember, this is the program that takes you on a ride in 25 minutes to seek out innovation and creativity that are unique to Africa. I'm Olayemi Otunuga. To take on the jobs of tomorrow, students must become more than good test takers. They need to become makers who design, sketch, build, and prototype. And their classrooms will need more than a chalkboard and a set of textbooks. Showcasing their projects allows budding scientists and innovators to gain recognition and attract potential investors and collaborators. It also helps them get useful feedback on how they can further refine and improve their works. Which is why the STEMite Zone Fair is providing a platform for some students in Lagos to explore, create, and present their inventive ideas. Creativity and innovation are in full bloom at the STEMite Zone Fair in Lagos, where some young talents across the state come together to showcase their inventive ideas.
An automated refuse truck.
From building a hydro-solar power system to crafting an air cooler, these primary and secondary school students amaze panelists with their practical and imaginative projects.
Now it tells you that it has been full, and it will not open through the sensors anymore because it doesn't want you to get in contact with it.
Also among the highlights are a dual-purpose light and wall clock, a smart and eco-friendly bin, and even an alcoholic cooker.
Tickets to not cross the Zone Fair and once again
And as the students have come together, each of them bringing their unique ideas to life and showing a glimpse of the future, they are also excited to see how their projects can make a difference.
This is hydro-solar power. Hydro-solar power is generating electricity using water and sunlight. Now, so over here is our solar panel. Our solar panel generates electricity for our powerhouse. Now this is the hydro part of our project. This is a reservoir, penstock, DC motor, turbine, and inside here is a generator. Now what this does, so a generator converts mechanical energy to electrical energy. This is a DC motor. The DC motor pumps water from the river to the reservoir. In the reservoir, the penstock brings the water out and goes to the turbine and then back to the river again.
Who are going around and checking, please,
it's a continuous process.
I made an eco bin. It's an automatically powered dustbin that uses ultrasonic sensors to sense the proximity of a person that is close to the dustbin who wants to dispose it. You don't need to touch the dustbin or come into physical contact unless you want to take out the trash from the dustbin. It works on 3 LED lights, an Arduino Nano board, and a buzzer.
It just happened when COVID-19 was around, and I was shocked that many people died because of the tiny germs from the bin. And I was disappointed. So me and I talked to my partner Usemebe, and we decided to now create the echo beam. And we are very happy and hopeful that this will help the entire world.
I use a wire, a switch, a pipe, and a fan to do this air cooler.
Every single ambassador that has put all this good work together, you guys are all winners and you deserve all the accolades. Judges, your time.
What made you think of this idea?
For the organizers, seeing the creativity and passion of the students is inspiring.
The semi-zone fair is set to be a generator or some kind of hub to where we hone innovators of Africa. You know, because our vision is to see a wave of homegrown innovations come out of Nigeria, come out of Africa over the next 10 years. And so with this initiative, with the fair, we hope to nurture those talents, because in 10 years from now, the youngest kid in the room will be, just coming out of university, and we want to be able to hone that entrepreneurial spirit. We believe that in this room there are the African Albert Einstein, there are the African Aristotle, there are so many people, so many potentials in the room, right? And we want to be able to make sure that they have the exposure and the resources that they need to really make impact in terms of innovation from Nigeria, from Africa to the rest of the world.
My passion is to start them, catch them young, set the foundation right for them, and then help them to become the best pupils they can be and the best citizens they can be globally.
They believe with encouragement and the right opportunities, the future is bright with these young innovators.
We've started something really good, and hopefully our children and schools and the government will also get behind this initiative, where we are grooming our scientists from the scratch. As you all know, if you go around the world, the best doctors, the best engineers, the best anything, anywhere you go, is obviously is a Nigerian. So if we do that now at home to grow our own children, the sky's the limit for us. And I encourage the STEMite zone, Ibukun, to continue with this initiative she started. And hopefully the sky's the limit. We'll have more people, more children interested in science, more innovative ideas coming up, and just make things different for us as a country in Nigeria.
Our vision is 10 years, so every year we'll come back. Hopefully it's going to be bigger and better than it was before. We also hope to have state level competitions, national level competitions, and really get more of Nigeria's young Nigerians participating in this. We want to make it a culture. Right? We want to shift the mindset at the grassroots level.
The STEMite Zone Fair is more than just a showcase of projects. It's a celebration of the creativity, scientific exploration, and problem-solving skills of these young minds.
It's difficult to go to math. Who can guess how long it takes to go to math from Earth? Yes? 3 days. 3 days, okay. Nice. Sorry?
This is a robotics workshop at Totland Schools in Ikorodu area of Lagos to spark the imaginations of young talents. Organized by STEMMET's Resources in partnership with Airbus Foundation and Chesson Slums Africa, the workshop is designed to provide hands-on learning experiences in STEM fields, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The workshop is about more than just building robots. The first begin by building the confidence of the students and opening their minds to the world of technology. After the little background, they engage them with the tools and guidance needed to bring their ideas to life. For many of these kids, it's the first time working with such tools.
What I was expecting was that as we were entering the hall, I saw some blocks. I thought we were just building normal robots for maybe a practical or something. But what I saw was that we were learning about Mars, how to launch a rocket for Mars.
I learned more about robotics, the different parts of satellites, and the functions of satellites, which is satellites. They help meteorologists to determine weather conditions. They also help farmers to determine the type of fertilizers to use in planting of crops. And I also learned more about the parts of a space rocket.
What I learned here was about the barriers of space exploration and the solutions to them. So the barriers are cosmic radiation, which comes from the sun, weightlessness, which is due to zero gravity in space.
For the tutors, the workshop is opening up new possibilities for the future of the children.
The initial assessments when the children are exposed to is fantastic. So we use unusual things. So we may use Lego toys to teach them, how to construct, how to build, how to work with teams. So it's robotics, it's motorized, the children are creating. And some of it is actually, computer-based as well. So some of it is screen-based, some of it is non-screen-based. So you can see the excitement in the children's eyes because they are creating. When you're making something or when you've been exposed to something and taught something and you can practicalize it right in front of you, I think that is, the number one biggest assessment that you can ask for, the participation and engagement, because that's really what education, is striving for. Engagement, they call it stickiness as well, an ability to retain and recall. And we see that with a lot of our programs, because they are hands-on and they are practical, you can see the immediate assessment because the children are learning, they're responding to what they've learned because they're practicalizing it immediately. So that formative assessment, you can see it immediately. It's not waiting for an end of term, summative written exam for you to see the assessment. So you're learning, they're doing, and you're assessing immediately, and you're seeing the results. So that is the unique thing about STEM-based learning and teaching.
The Robotics Workshop is just one of many planned for underserved communities around the country. Each stop on this journey is a step towards bridging the educational gap and ensuring that every child has the opportunity to dream big and achieve great things. The alleged data breach involving some unauthorized platforms holding and selling sensitive data of Nigerians has sparked significant concerns. In late June, Paradigm Initiative, a digital rights organization, revealed that personal information, including national identification numbers, bank verification numbers, and tax identification numbers, were being sold for as low as 100 naira on these platforms. In response, the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, debunked the allegations, even though the Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy said the Nigeria Data Protection Commission was actively investigating the circumstances surrounding the breach. If true, a compromise like that not only represents a major violation of fundamental privacy rights, but also raises questions about the security measures in place to protect such sensitive data. Jake Okechukwu, a technology law professor and lawyer, shares his thoughts on the issue. Jake, the recent alleged data breach has raised some level of concerns. How do you think such platforms would have managed to gain access to the NIMSI database if that information is true?
So right, we don't know if it's true or not, and I think we need to establish the fact that this may be out of NIMSI's structure, right? People think NIMSI may have been negligent, but the truth is there are many ways that NIMSI could have done everything right, but still could be implicated in this. And I could mention some examples. One would be, it could be an insider employee, somebody who works at NIMSI or not. It could be a contractor or a third-party vendor who have access to these database, and they might abuse their privilege to sell access for money, or they might have been a subject of a cybersecurity attack. So cyber criminals these days have gotten really smart, and they use all kinds of social engineering tactics to trick employees or trick people into revealing login credentials or revealing access to this database. So it is possible that this could be a product of a cyber attack. It could be possible that there could be an insider threat. It's also possible that the security protocol could have been weak. So maybe there's a weak password, or there's a lack of encryption, or even maybe a software has expired, an outdated software. These are the things that can make a database to be vulnerable to hacking. So it could be threat from an employee. It could be an insider wanting to make money. It also could be a product of just the network of data trading today. So a lot of, when I see this X-Verify, ID Finder, some of these websites who sell this data for 100 naira, so to speak, you need to understand that there's an underground of network where stolen data is exchanged. So we don't know where these threats could come from. And I think it's important to understand that this may not be NIMSI's fault. They may be negligent. I'm not absolving them. But there are many examples as to how this could be an external attack or a cybersecurity threat.
Well, Jake, NIMSI, as they came out to denounce the allegations, stating that the data of Nigerians, were not compromised. However, still assuming that, that is true, are there any known vulnerabilities in the current data protection framework that could have been exploited?
Absolutely. I think our Nigerian data protection framework is strong. It's not perfect. It has some vulnerabilities that both on the technical side and on the legal side. And I would mention two on the technical side and two on the legal side. We know that a chain is only as strong as its weakest point. So data security, cybersecurity is very, very critical. Two things I think we might need to address immediately would be access control. I think in Nigeria, there are just too many personnel that have access to Nigeria's sensitive data, right? It's just too many. Second would be about encryption. So I don't know the encryption framework or infrastructure that we use across various NDAs, but we need to ensure that we have adequate encryption to prevent unauthorized access, right? So from a technical perspective, both data at rest and data in transit, whichever one, we need to ensure they're adequately encrypted so that we don't have these breaches happen just quite often. And this would happen again. We will keep seeing more of these examples. And on the legal side, yes, we have the Nigerian Data Protection Act, which is quite robust. But if you look at Section 39, that talks about the implementation of appropriate technical organization measures, it doesn't explain what appropriate means, right? So the Act needs to be more specific on the guidelines and standards. The technical standards and guidelines need to be explicit. For example, it doesn't talk about how regular we should do security audits, how regular should we do penetration testing. These things are very important. It also doesn't talk about the response mechanism in detail. So it's a bit broad, and it needs to be quite articulate in that in that regard. The second, from a legal perspective, is about cross-border transfer of personal data. I think in Nigeria, we transfer a lot of our data to various recipient countries and organizations without adequate, broad frameworks for this cross-border protection of our data. So I think we need more detailed, more stringent frameworks to access data protection to recipient countries and other organizations, because this could also be an international attack. This could be a foreign organization selling or using our data to make small cash.
Jake, I'm going to take us back a bit because earlier you spoke about access control and cross-border data transfer. Now, the vetting process for third-party vendors and partners is quite crucial in matters like this. What recommendations would you make to the government to strengthen data protection standards?
I mean, we need, I don't know what the agreements or memorandum of understanding between various MDAs and third-party vendors are, but these service level agreements, these data processing, data sharing agreements need to be quite robust. I think they need to, again, I don't know, I've not seen any of them, but there needs to be a much stronger conversation, and these agreements should cover instances for data breaches like these. Where are Nigerian data stored? Who has access to that storage or cloud platform? What happens where a breach happens? How do we delete data? How do we anonymize data? These are terms in the agreement that needs to be fleshed out. And I think very importantly, when a third-party vendor is dealing with the data set of Nigerians, right? That third-party vendor, even though they're a company, should not see themselves as only a business-making venture or like a company. They must recognize that we hold them with the same account that we'll hold any department, ministry, or agency, because at that point in time, they are serving and holding data sets of like millions of Nigerians. So I think the agreement, the understanding between these third-party vendors needs to be more concrete for them to understand the sensitivity of their position in the ways that they handle our data, the ways that they share it, the ways that they store it, the ways that they even move it across one party to the other.
Well, Jake, I'm sure you agree with me that there is always a risk of human error and insider threats leading to data breaches. So how can citizens avoid giving sensitive data to unauthorized websites themselves?
The Nigerian Data Protection Act, organizations who have the mandate to collect, to process, to store, to transfer data have the high responsibility to meeting these protection standards. But of course, citizens can play their own role in their own very small ways. Citizens should make sure that they ensure that when they are when they're online, the websites that they're engaging in are like legitimate websites. They should look at the URL, ensure that they have the adequate security certificates. People in Nigeria just share personal information as if it's daily bread. Like someone is applying for a job, they ask you for your passport, driver's license, you send it on WhatsApp, you send it via email. We need to be cautious with how we share personal information, both to employers, employees, even to organizations themselves. And of course, the various security advice, use very strong passwords. Consider using a password manager, use two-factor authentication. You see the way people are hacking people's WhatsApp here and there. So 2FA is very, very important. Unfortunately, this is going to be quite common in our time. In this day of technological revolution, things like cybersecurity attacks are going to be quite common. I think the fears for a lot of Nigerians is somebody going to clone my information? Does this mean that my security is at risk? So I think we need to also assure Nigerians, like NIMC released a statement saying that they comply with the ISO standards for information security management systems. I think people need to trust organizations, both government and private, that their data is secure. But citizens have to do their part. Use strong passwords. Don't share personal information. Don't overshare. Use two-factor authentication. And as much as possible, if you don't need your data in an organization anymore, ask for that data to be deleted. It's your right. It's in the act.
Thank you so much for sharing your perspectives with us on Tech Trends. Jake Okechukwu, a technology law professor and lawyer.
Thank you very much, Olayemi, for having me on your show.
And it's a wrap on the show this week. Thank you for watching. But as always, if you are interested in keeping track of how tech-savvy innovators are crafting homegrown solutions using technology in the country, well, keep watching Tech Trends because we will continue to showcase them for you. From startups to big techs, and of course, inventful thinkers. Also, if you missed any parts of the show, you can always catch up on the Channels TV YouTube accounts where we have all of our episodes. And I encourage you to watch, share, and like your favorite editions. For Tech Trends, I'm Olayemi Odunuga.